Hi, my name is Ananya Kumar, and this is a tutorial on how to make a scene from Stranger Things in Scratch. Before we dive into the tutorial, we have to make sure we understand what we're going to do. We will be using Scratch to recreate an iconic scene from Stranger Things. The scene is where lights are turning on and off in order to send a signal that say, right here and run. Here's a sample of the finished project. Alright, so there are some terms that we need to know before starting. A sprite is what we call the characters and items in the animation that we are going to make. The background is basically the backdrop of the scene. A block represents what movement or action your character is going to do, like glide or dialogue. A script is a set of instructions that you create for your sprite to follow. And finally, costumes are the different ways your sprite looks. So here are some of the basic commands you'll find on Sprite. The categories are looks, motion, sound, events, and control. We will go more in depth into each function later. Alright, so here's where we start our project. First things first is we're going to delete the little cat sprite. Now we're going to create a background by selecting this icon right here. We are going to make our background a living room just to stay true to the scene. We're going to find it under indoor. Alright, so now we have our background selected. We are going to create our string of lights. We do this by creating our text box, which is right over here. And we're going to make a text box big enough for our whole alphabet. And we have to change our color from purple to black. And if you want, you can change the font. But we're going to make a text box for every single letter. And you can change the font if you would like. And let's keep doing this until we get the whole alphabet on there. So now that all the letters are added, we are going to add our sprites, or our characters. So we're going to pick a character to be the mom. We're just going to go with the first one, right there. We are going to position her around like the middle of the screen. And now we're going to add the monster, right there. And to make him look like the monster from the show, we're going to have to edit him a little bit. So we have two different positions right here. We're going to have one with his hands up like he's screaming, and then one just with his hands down, kind of like normal. And we're going to change the color, so we're going to click on the button right there and change the colors to white. Just by sliding those things around, you can figure out what color is what. And just by selecting each part of his body, you're just going to select it and turn it white. And then we're going to go back into his head and his ears and make it red. And so we have his body is all white now. We have to do the same thing to his head. And now we're going to go back to our color box and make it red just by sliding that middle bar all the way down. And now we're going to select his ears and his nose, and we're going to make it red. Just like that. And so now we have our completed monster with the arms down. Now we have to do the same exact things to the arms standing up. And here is our completed monster with the hands up. Alright, so now that we have our sprites completed, we are going to start the coding. So first we're going to take the orange block that says start and put a 5 down and put it into our workspace. And now we're going to create our light bulb, which is going to be another sprite. So we're going to do that by simply taking an oval shape and then coloring it in with our yellow. And we're going to make it a little bit duller, so then when we have the sprite with the light bulb that lights up, you can tell the difference between the two. And so we do this by just making an oval. And we're going to add this shape to our letters, and we're going to add a light bulb for each letter in the alphabet. Alright, so we added a light bulb for each of the letters in our background, and now we're going to do some more coding on each of the sprites. So the first thing is we're going to grab a Start Flag button, which is going to be under the Events tab. And then we're going to go to our looks, and we're going to add some dialogue from the scene. It's going to be the second one from the top. And this one specifically allows you to put a dialogue for a certain amount of time. So we're going to put 2 seconds, and we're going to put our message in that first bubble. And now we're going to go to our motion tab, and we're going to put the character to move to this certain location. So the X and Y coordinates will automatically be on there. And now we're going to add our message. So you just click on the tab right there, and it'll have a pop-up where you can type up your message. And now we're going to add a yellow block, the start one, a purple block the same as before. We're going to put in our message there. Now we're going to grab our blue block and our yellow block, same as before. And we're going to do the same thing to our sprite with the yellow and the purple. And then we're going to start a new yellow block. And we're going to have our we're going to put our brightened yellow sprite right above each letter that we want our message to be. So our first letter is going to be R. And we're going to put the exact coordinates. It'll automatically fill in once you put it there. And you're going to put our purple block that basically tells us that it's either going to show or hide it. And basically the same thing for our whole message. Alright, so we made a X and Y coordinate for each of our letters. So there should be 9 total, 1 for each letter. And we're going to put our last purple block and then a yellow block at the very end. Basically tells us what our sprite is going to do. Our sprite being the yellow, bright yellow light bulb. Alright, so what I've done right here is I added a yellow block that basically tells the sprite to wait 1 second before going to each different position, so it doesn't all flash at one time. And now we're going to go to our first sprite, being the mom, and we're going to change our messages to make sure that they go to the right sprite. And so basically what we're doing now is saying that after one thing happens, the second thing it's calling it if and then statement. And so our if is going to be when this happens, our statement's going to say our message, which is right here, question mark. And the number after that basically tells us how long it's going to be set for. And we're putting a second message right below it. And we're just putting a yellow block that tells us our new message. And we're going to put our new message in the box. And then we're going to go to our very first light bulb sprite. And we're going to put our yellow box with that new message on there. And we're going to do the same thing for our run message. We'll put a show block, move it to the R, and then put our coordinates, which is going to be under the blue tab. And the coordinates automatically fill in. And we're going to do our U and put in the coordinates. And finally our N. And we're also going to do the wait block between each one, just like we did for our right here message. And we're putting a new message, which says run, which is what she's going to say as soon as those 3 letters go on and off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change our character's pose basically, so then she looks like that she's scared. So we do that by first changing our sprite, and then we're going to go to our looks. And we're going to click on the purple one, and we're going to go to the costumes tab, and we're going to click on our the third from the bottom. And we're going to switch between the two. So we're going to leave some room, or we're actually going to delete that one. And we're going to put in this one right here. Just so she's only in that pose for a couple of seconds. And she's going to say our new message for that amount of time. Alright, so now we're going to do our last step, which is making the screen flash between black and our actual background. So like as the lights are turning on and off. And to do that, we're going to go to our background scene page, and we're just going to create one from scratch. All we're going to do is just take the screen and paint it black. So I'm just going to increase my brush size so I don't spend like 3 hours just painting every pixel. And so we're just going to paint our whole screen black. And as you can see, whatever we're doing on our screen right here is what's happening on the actual scene. So we're just painting this whole thing black. And after we do this, what we're basically going to do is make our background switch between our solid black screen and our actual scene. So right now what we see is our sprite and our lights that we added. And so as you see, you can just switch between the two and it looks like it's like flickering. So we're going to our background and clicking our start button again. When the flag is pressed, this will happen. And we're going to put a purple block. We're going to change it to that right there. I'm going to start a new thread, just like that. And we're going to do the same block as before. We're going to do that one instead. And we're going to connect it to this one right here and select the number 1. And we'll do our second one again. I'm going to go back to the first one. And basically this shows how many times it's going to go back and forth. So right now it's going to flicker back and forth 3 different times because we have each message on their 3 types. And we're just going to end it right there by putting our new message in. And so at this point, the only thing that we have to do left is to add our monster, which is going to show up as soon as the lights turn back on, and there are 2 sound effects at the very end. So we're going to go to our sprite, which is the monster, and we're going to add more code to that. Right now we only have our 2 blocks. So we're going to add the first one with his hands up, and then our second part's going to be with his hands down. So we're going to add our sound now. By doing this, we go to a pink sound tab, and our first one's going to be his roar, and you can find the sound just by going into the sound library. And that one right there. It's going to be your sound, and you can sample each sound before you hear it. I'm going to save it as that. And so basically this makes it, the monster make a noise as soon as it shows up. And we're also going to add a scream in a second to the first sprite, being the mom. But before that, we're going to make our sprite put his hands down. And we do this by putting our purple block, our hide and our show blocks down. And we can also make our monster move closer by changing the X and Y coordinates, which we're going to do right here. So we're putting our starting coordinates right there. And then we're going to move our monster to where we want it to be. And we're going to put our second group of coordinates in our second block. So we're going to put our glide block, which basically tells us, makes the sprite move over slowly as if it's like walking, and we can set how fast by the amount of seconds, and then our final destination by those coordinates, which are automatically filled in for you. And that's basically it. That's our whole project. So if you want to play out your project just to see how it looks like, you can go to the top corner where it says like preview, I believe, and you can see your final video. So this is what it's supposed to look like. So you can see this is where we added our dialogue. This is the part where we changed our X and Y coordinates to move the bright light bulb to each letter. And this is where we added more dialogue. And this is where we put our like run. And we added more dialogue here. And this is how the flickering worked. And that's our monster. And that's how we did our glide. And that's our project.